Everyone doing today? Yes. That's the energy we want. Yalla, there's still 4 minutes. لأن بتحرك يعطيك العافية. شكرا. ما قصرت. شكرا. Thank you so much. Is anyone in the back registered as a participant? Okay. So any participants, if you could join us here at the front, that would be amazing. Great. Yeah. Okay. لا, I have. applause. Hello, hello. Is this mic on? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If I could kindly ask you all, ladies and gentlemen, to take your seats. We're about to start with the youth dialogue. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for joining us this afternoon. And I'm really excited about the engagement that we're going to have today. Just before I came here, I was in Mirdif city center. And the Ministry of Climate Change had just created an initiative with Lush Cosmetics. Does everyone, can I get a raise of hands, people who know Lush Cosmetics? They do the bath bombs and stuff like that, which is very interesting. But it wasn't what I saw that sort of in the store that shook me and got me to think about this engagement dialogue that we're having today. It's the kids, when they passed by and saw all the colorful bath bombs, stopped and went inside. And when they went inside, there was people from the ministry, and there was Lush Cosmetics, which are creating this new initiative to keep the oceans clean. 13-year-olds, 12-year-olds, families coming in, and because of this initiative, they had engaged all these people, all these youth, who would have otherwise just passed by and not known anything, especially about the environment, especially about the important work being done at the UAE on these important green questions. So I hope to continue the engagement that I saw there here today. I hope to hear your opinions. I hope to hear your challenges. I hope you challenge the speakers on some of the things they say. The core problem that we're going to be talking about today is the private and public sector doing enough to engage the youth in the development of the green economy? Yes or no? We don't know. Someone's already shaking their head saying no. That's good. We're getting engagement before we start. But before we get going, I would like to invite His Excellency Saeed Mohammed Al-Tayir, the Managing Director and CEO of DIWA, to take the stage for his keynote address. Your Excellency.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحضور الكريم، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. يسرني التواجد معكم هنا في هذه الجلسة الحوارية الهامة ضمن فعاليات القمة العالمية للاقتصاد الأخضر. هناك إجماع على أن مساهمات الشباب في عملية تحول الاقتصاد الأخضر تعد من المواضيع الأكثر أهمية المطروحة على طاولة البحث والنقاش خلال فعاليات القمة. ولعل شعار تعزيز الابتكار قيادة التغيير يوضح الدور المحوري الذي يلعبه الشباب في التحول للاقتصاد الأخضر، لأن الابتكار والإبداع من صفات الشباب، كما أن التغيير الذي نسعى لقيادته هو عملية مستمرة وللشباب دور فاعل وحاسم. وأود هنا الإشارة إلى منقول السيد صاحب اسمه الشيخ محمد بن راشد آل مكتوم، نائب رئيس الدولة رئيس مجلس وزراء حاكم دبي رعاه الله، إن الشباب هم قوة الأوطان وأملها في بناء غد أفضل، حيث ترقى برقيهم الأمم ويبنى المستقبل بطاقاتهم وقدراتهم ومهاراتهم، وبسواعدهم ينجز التقدم وبثبات نحو غد مزدهر لأجيالنا الحالية والقادمة. ولأن الشباب هم مستقبل الوطن وأمله، فعلينا أن ندعمهم دائما وأن نستمع لآرائهم ونسعى لأن يكونوا جزءا أصيلا من عملية التنمية والنمو الاقتصادي والاجتماعي والبيئي. ومن هذا المنطلق يتعين أن يكون للشباب بمختلف ثقافاتهم مساهمة فاعلة مبدعة في الجهود الساعية للتحول للاقتصاد الأخضر، لأن كل مساهمة شبابية يمكن أن تشكل إضافة نوعية في وضع الخطط والاستراتيجيات وتنفيذها، ولا سيما أن الشباب اليوم هم قادة الغد وحملة مشاعل التغيير لمستقبل أفضل لنا ولأجيالنا القادمة. إننا نسعى دوما لتعزيز المشاركة الفاعلة على أرض الواقع للشباب في مختلف المبادرات والحملات والمشاريع المستدامة في إطار الجهود الرامية إلى تحقيق الأهداف الوطنية والاستراتيجية للدولة، ومنها رؤية الإمارات 2021 ومئوية الإمارات 2071 واستراتيجية دبي للطاقة النظيفة 2050 وغيرها من الجهود الوطنية الأخرى. وفي هذا الإطار أطلقت هيئة كهرباء ومياه دبي العديد من المبادرات الشبابية التي أثبتت حضورا لافتا، بداية من استضافة المسابقة العالمية للجامعات لتصميم الأبنية المعتمدة على الطاقة الشمسية سولار ديكاثلون، ومرورا برعاية برنامج سفراء الكربون وتنظيم الحلقات الشبابية وإطلاق مجلس الشباب الساعي إلى تمكين الشباب وإشراكهم في عملية البناء والتطوير. ونتطلع أن يكون حوارنا اليوم بناء يثمر عن نتائج ومخرجات إيجابية تنعكس على السياسات والخطط المستقبلية. فمخرجات حوارنا اليوم وما سيقدمه الشباب من أفكار واقتراحات ومساهمات سيعرض على صناع القرار ليكون عاملا مساعدا في عملية اتخاذ القرار فيما يتعلق بقضايا التنمية المستدامة والبيئة والتحول للاقتصاد الأخضر، مع الحرص على مشاركة شبابية في عملية التنفيذ والمتابعة، وبما يضمن استمرارية وكفاءة تنفيذ الخطط والاستراتيجيات لتحقيق الأهداف الطموحة لنا ولأجيالنا القادمة. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Mike? Okay. Thank you, Your Excellency, for your inspiring words. Now we're going to open up. So this is all about you guys at the front. So I'm going to ask your permission. Do you mind if we bring up a few speakers to say a few words on the initiatives that they're doing, and then we continue the dialogue from there? We okay? All in agreement? Arwa? No? All right. I'd like to invite Ms. Layla Mustafa Abdul Latif, Director General at Emirates Wildlife Society, WWF, to join me up on stage. If we can give him a round of applause, please. Come on. Mr. Simon Bushell, Co-founder and CEO of SimPower. And Ms. Noor Al-Hammadi, R&D Technologist at DIWA Research and Development Center. So to give you guys a little idea of how the event's going to flow, each of the speakers are going to be given around 5 to 10 minutes to talk about either their projects, to talk about the subject of how they're engaging youth in a greener economy. Once each of them are done, then we're going to open up and start the dialogue. So I hope you're all ready with your questions. I hope you're listening very closely to the interesting things that they have to say, the projects that they have, the solutions that they're going to come to that one problem. Remember, that's the thing that I want us to focus on. How can the public and private sector engage youth better in the greener economy? Always keep that as our North Star. How we get there, that's what we're going to discover here today, inshallah. Anyway, we have our first speaker here, Ms. Layla Mustafa. Please, go ahead.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Salam alaikum. Firstly, I'd like to start by saying thank you for inviting me to be a part of this youth forum today and for providing the permission for me to speak. It's truly an honor to be able to lend my voice to such an important topic, especially in this ever-evolving world that we live in. But before I actually start into addressing this topic, I wanted to grab your attention to the image of the planet behind me. So this is actually a planet called Proxima b, and it was recently discovered by scientists. And what's more is that astronomers over the last year actually have discovered not one, not two, but actually seven Earth-sized planets just in the year. And what's more is that 3 of those planets are actually found to be in the habitable zone. So what that means is that these planets could potentially have presence of water, and with presence of water, that also means presence of life. Now, this particular planet here, Proxima b, was actually found to be orbiting the Earth, orbiting the star closest to Earth, aside from the Sun. So it answers that very big question: is there potentially a planet B? And could there be life on other worlds? So before we get all excited, I wanted to really understand, okay, could there be a planet B? And if so, then maybe my job should be redundant. But how long would it take us to actually get there? And by doing a quick Google search, if we actually travel at the speed of light, it would unsurprisingly take us 4 years. But with the fastest spacecraft ever developed by man, Voyager the first, it would take us 80,000 years to reach this planet. So what that means is that there's no planet B and there's no plan B. And we need to focus our energy on trying to save our existing planet. But what do we know about the health of our existing planet? Well, we are at critical crossroads with regard to the health of our planet and the well-being of society. And if we continue consuming resources at the rate we're currently consuming, it would mean that we'd require over 1.7 planet Earths to sustain our way of life. So this is based on the fact that we have a high energy and water consumption. As residents of the planet, we have a lot of food wastage and over-reliance of plastics. So we're really pushing beyond our environmental limits, and as we all know, we have one planet, not 1.7 planets, not 1.2 planets. However, what's important to note is that it's actually not that difficult to have that positive can-do attitude and have an impact on the planet and be more environmentally conscious. All it takes is simple practical changes in our everyday life in order to be there as leaders and as sustainability ambassadors. So thank you, first of all, for really taking an interest in today's discussion and being here because you want to have a voice as youth and be present in acting as sustainability ambassadors. Now, as an environmental NGO, Emirates Wildlife Society, in association with WWF, has a very simple vision. We want people to live in harmony with nature. And we do this by working with people and institutions on science-based solutions that combat climate change, and very simply, we safeguard our land, our seas, and the biodiversity that lives within it. Now, given that youth actually represent more than half of the Arab society, I'm speaking here today in a very critical way to really ask for your support in making this vision a reality, and ask for your support as youth to shape the future of our world and to ensure that we are moving in a sustainable direction. One key opportunity is to really raise awareness between the link between humanity and a healthy planet. And to use an example of how this really works, I'd like to look at the marine ecosystem. So the term blue economy actually refers to the economic value and benefit that we obtain from our marine ecosystem and from our oceans and coastlines. And globally, the blue economy generates $2.5 trillion per year. This is based on our fishing industries, based on aquaculture, based on marine-based industries, and a number of other activities. Now, if you compare this value of $2.5 trillion to the GDP of a country, it would mean that our oceans actually make up the 7th largest economy in the world. So again, a number of these different industries are actually present in the UAE. So preserving our oceans, preserving our habitats and our species ultimately enable job employment for youth, enable income for youth, and enable a future for youth. Now, apart from this, I also urge you to really look at the platforms that are readily available to you as youth. The UAE is the only country in the world where we have a 22-year-old Minister of Youth, Her Excellency Sham al-Mazroui, who presides over the Youth National Council. And there are a number of different platforms, including youth circles, including youth governmental platforms, including the one that we're in today, that enable you to really have that voice and be present and really shape the way our economy is in the UAE and the way we're governing our nation. So make use of these platforms and really try to highlight those issues that are most important to you as youth. Now, to support the youth in the journey of becoming sustainability ambassadors and of leading those greener lifestyles, at Emirates Wildlife Society, we work on a number of different initiatives that really empower education, and beyond education, connecting youth with nature. So outside of the classroom, so that they really understand the value themselves and the importance of the environment. And some of the programs that we're running include programs where university students get to be directly involved in the climate change research work that we're doing, along with the marine research work. And this is through citizen scientist-based learning programs. So one of our most recent programs that we're very proud of, which is sponsored by DIWA, includes a climate change research learning program. And with this particular program, what we do is we take groups of individuals into Wadi Waraya National Park, which is also hosted by Fujairah Municipality, where these students actually stay for 5 days in the Wadi, and they're able to learn about the impacts of climate change on the UAE, on its economic sectors, but also about the impacts of climate change on biodiversity, and be directly involved in conducting that research on the ground in order to directly support the conservation work that we do as an organization and that other environmental entities lead on. So these sorts of programs, we've noticed, has really had an impact on empowering youth, because again, it's about taking you out of the classroom, taking you out of your office space, and really going into the natural environment where you understand the impact of and see for yourselves our real natural heritage. So it's one thing to talk about it, but it's another thing when you're actually connecting with it and you're out there and really embracing it. Now, the good news is that we do live in a very future-oriented nation where our leaders are already supporting this movement for sustainable development through the Government Vision 2021. And there's been a number of examples where best practice for businesses and sustainability incentives have been put in place for the private sector. So there's been a number of different examples where the different emirates are demonstrating their commitment to sustainability. But while our government has made a lot of progress with this regard, when it comes to national policies tied towards the private sector, they've yet to catch up. And it's critical for us to really understand that the UAE has a unique market with regards to its resources, with regards to its needs, and services and green labels and codes are critical for us to put in place in order to enable you, the consumer, with a variety of resources to lead those greener lifestyles. Now, the private sector plays a big part in ensuring that we do have a greener lifestyle readily available to us as youth and as citizens of the UAE. But what's important to highlight here is that creating these cost-effective, eco-friendly options in the market are increasingly competitive, and they're both financially beneficial to the bottom line of a company, but also tremendously helpful in order to provide us with those products readily available in the markets. And the merits of this approach are definitely being demonstrated by global brands such as Coca-Cola, such as IKEA, HSBC, and locally a lot of the brands are also starting to play a role in reducing their footprint and leading more sustainable business practices such as Majid al-Fatim. So I urge you as youth to really grasp onto this opportunity, demand more from your brands, because again, your purchasing power is what's going to enable the market transformation. So really be vocal about the matters that are most important to you and demand that. Be vigilant and really be confident and support one another with this. Now, last but not least, I wanted to touch on one other topic which I think we're all very familiar with, which is social media. Now, social media definitely plays a large role in also creating that demand from the private sector in order to transform our markets. Now, we know that in the age of social media, information is readily available at our fingertips, and knowledge is definitely power. However, we also need to understand that social media has united the youth through a myriad of issues through education and by creating that community. Now, a number of different marketing companies have realized the benefit of social media, and they've realized the power of social media. But we need to recognize that too, and depend on this platform as an opportunity to really model those environmental behaviors and create a community for youth and beyond to understand that leading a greener lifestyle is possible and not difficult to meet. Last but not least, in closing, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to say that, being able to make considerable changes towards an environmentally sustainable lifestyle will need to be done together. It cannot be done in isolation. People can live in harmony with nature. However, everyone does have a role to play. And I really encourage you as youth to inspire those inspirational changes and be that glimmer of hope. Because again, you are the future of tomorrow, and you can make that change happen. You just need to ask for it. Thank you.
Simon, please.
Good afternoon. I'm Simon, and it's an absolute honour to be up here today. Today, I'd like to talk about unsung heroes, heroes that you might never have heard of. Because I think that there's this perception that if you're under a certain age, youth, and I hope that I can still call myself a youth at 27, we're a lazy bunch of people who do nothing but sit around all day and sit on Snapchat, watch Netflix, and complain. And of course, part of that's true. I mean, how many of you have sent a Snapchat in the last 24 hours? Anyone? How many of you sent a Snapchat while Lila was talking? Yeah? Exactly, so part of that's true. But I think part of it isn't true as well. I think that as a generation, we're a lot more than that. I think that we we know what we're doing, and I think we want to make a difference. And I want to talk a bit about that today, and then afterwards I want to give some examples of what the public and private sector could do to stimulate us more. So there's some people that are doing this actively every day. So I'm CEO of a company called SimPower, and I have the privilege of working with about 15 people who every day come into work and are trying to make a difference, trying to make the electricity system more sustainable. I'm also on the board of a committee of an organisation called the Youth Climate Movement in the Netherlands. And on Saturday, we presented the Youth Climate Agenda to some sort of important ministers and that sort of thing in the Netherlands. And that was a document that outlined the vision of the youth of the Netherlands for how we want our lives to be, how we want to live, how we want to work, how we want to get around in 2050. And hundreds of young people have worked in the last 3 months or so to make this possible. And this makes people really sit up and listen. But as well as the people that are doing this on a day-to-day basis actively, there's also thousands, if not millions, of unsung heroes all around the world. So again, to give an example from my work, we have lunch every day as a team, and we have lunch with another company. So in total, there's about 20 of us having lunch together. And at our lunch table, you won't find any meat, which is a bit unusual in the Netherlands. And when people arrive for the first couple of days, they're kind of maybe a bit unsure about it, but quickly they realise that our lunch is just as delicious and nutritious and all those other things as a lunch with meat. And this sparks conversations. It makes people go away. And I was just talking to a colleague yesterday who told me that last week she went home, she looked it up, and she realised how much of an impact what she ate really had on the environment. And I would say that out of the 20 people that have lunch together every day, maybe about 15 of them, if not more, are now what I've heard called reducitarians. So people that are not necessarily vegetarians, but at least are trying to reduce the impact of their diet on the environment. Another example, last weekend I was in a room of about 50 people, and the question was asked, 50 young people, who owns a car? And very, very sheepishly, one person put their hand up and said, I own a car. And the fact that she was almost embarrassed about that shows this kind of attitude shift that we've had in the last years. And that's why I think that our generation isn't just a lazy generation. In fact, I think we're a generation that's grown up with knowing that climate change is happening and wanting to do something about it and wanting to make a difference. And I think we're a generation of unsung heroes. So that brings me to the question of what can the public and private sectors do to stimulate this more, to stimulate young people more. Well, I think there's hundreds and hundreds of things we can talk about, but and I'm sure we'll talk about lots of them soon. But I want to just pick out 3. So the first is to give us more choices. Because I know a lot of people who want to make better choices, want to make more choices that reflect sustainability. For example, that want to buy clothing in a more equitable and more sustainable way. But if you walk into your average clothes shop, you might, if you're lucky, find one line of clothing that has some kind of hint towards sustainability. And I promise you that if you made that half of the clothes, then there would be a lot of people making those decisions and choosing that sustainable product rather than the unsustainable product. So that's number 1, give us more choices. The second one is make those unknown heroes known. I think if you... I quickly looked up some statistics about meat consumption and about transport, and young people are already making those decisions. Young people are already, much more so than other generations, making decisions about their lifestyles, about how they eat, about how they get around, that reflect the fact that we know we need to do something differently if we want to keep this beautiful planet on which we live. And I think that needs to be made more visible. And the final thing is to give us a voice. I think it's great to have these sort of initiatives where sort of youth are being more engaged. And it's great to hear about that there's a minister of youth. That's amazing. And I think that's exactly what we need. We need to have, not just to be engaged, but to have a seat at the table. To borrow Obama's words, we're the first generation that's growing up seeing the impacts of climate change around us, and we're the last generation that can do something about it. So it's not just that it would be nice to engage us. It's not just that it would be nice to give us a seat at the table, but it's our right. We deserve to be there. We deserve to have that, have a voice in that decision-making process. So to sum up, I think the public and private sector should give us more choices, should make the unsung heroes more known, and should give us more of a voice and more of a seat at the table. And to all of you who are every day making decisions, either unconsciously, you're the unsung heroes, or the people like the next speaker who are working every day to make a difference, to make an impact, keep it up, because we're depending on you. The future of this planet depends on you, and sometimes it's really, really hard, and sometimes you're despairing, and it's in those moments that you've really got to keep it up. Not because we can and not because it's fun, but because if we want to keep living on this beautiful planet in 30 years' time, we must. Thanks.
Assalamu alaikum. Do you think the voice of the youth can make a change? I think a more important question is, are we ready to take the next step into a new era we call green lifestyle? I'm really glad that this session focuses on empowering and engaging us, the youth, in the sustainability path, because we are the leaders and influencers of a great part of the community. Living a sustainable lifestyle simply means minimizing our demands on the environment and how much we discharge to it. I'm going to introduce an initiative that can show us and support us in achieving this goal we all share. It's to show you that making small changes to the way you live can save our environment and make our surroundings cleaner and healthier. Solar Decathlon is an international competition created by the US Department of Energy, in which universities meet to design, build, and operate sustainable solar-powered houses. During the final phase of the competition, the teams assemble their houses in an expo area, open them to the general public, while undergoing 10 different contests of the competition. That's why we call it a decathlon. The rules of the competition are written to encourage multidisciplinary teams to develop innovative solutions that meet challenges related to energy, environment, and society. The teams could consist of one university or more from different countries, which means the competition gathers youth sharing the same goal from different parts of the world. They take big roles and responsibilities in different fields in the project. The competition gives the young generation the opportunity to learn not only about technical work and practical work, but also about green lifestyle in some of the contests. Solar Decathlon Middle East was created through an agreement signed between Dubai Electricity and Water Authority and the US Department of Energy back in 2015 in order to organize this event in Dubai in 2018 and 2020. As stated by His Excellency Saeed Mohammed Al-Tayer, DW's MD and CEO, hosting 2 versions of SDME is part of our ongoing efforts to achieve the vision of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President and Prime Minister of the UAE and ruler of Dubai, to establish Dubai as a global hub of sustainability and innovation. Also to support the Dubai Clean Energy Strategy 2050. In Solar Decathlon Middle East 2018, the competing teams will be evaluated in respect to the following 10 contests. Some of the contests shown are juried, which means the jury will walk through the houses and evaluate the team's work, and some of them are measured, which means they'll earn points based on data collected from the house. The competitors rely on renewables. They use passive house designs. They carefully select the house construction materials for an efficient building that requires less cooling costs. They consume less and they monitor their consumption. They know, for example, that every 1 degree change in the AC temperature makes a difference. They choose efficient appliances, systems, and components. In the sustainable transportation contest, the teams use an electric vehicle and charge it using the house system. Adding to that, the teams use innovative and smart technologies. They use recycled materials. They provide interior comfort and take into consideration daylighting and indoor air quality. In the house functioning contest, the teams mimic a normal modern home activities. They will be required to do some cooking, dishwashing, and more than that. They learn, for example, that using a fully loaded dishwasher that is more efficient and better than hand washing the dishes. The teams also, what else? There are a lot. So the teams, adding to that, the teams use all that. The teams teach the general public about all of that as well. They demonstrate that high-performance solar-powered houses can be comfortable, attractive, and affordable. They spread the message of sustainability. In SDME 2018, we're gathering passionate and hardworking youth that we're very proud of. Some of them are actually joining us today. And we're currently showcasing their house's architectural models at the Dubai Solar Show, Sheikh Saeed Hall #1. So please check them out and get to know more about their projects. Yesterday, we had the pleasure of His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Rashid visiting the booth. And then finally, November next year, we'll be exhibiting the competition houses at the Mohammed bin Rashid Solar Park. We're inviting you to visit and get the practical tools that help you move towards green living and better quality of life. The special edition of Solar Decathlon Middle East, in line with the Dubai Expo 2020, is going to be launched soon. Visit our website and social media platforms for more information. At the end, I hope we have inspired you to make environmentally conscious choices about the way you live. Thank you.
Now for the fun. It was very interesting to hear all your perspectives. Someone engaging youth more in a greener environment and making the planet a better place. So you're already seeing youth doing that, living greener lifestyles, and competition that will engage all youth. But before we get into that, I think we have a bit of a flip happening. So we'd like to thank Ms. Layla Mustafa for joining us. She has to jump out for a meeting. If we can give her a round of applause.
Thank you.
But she has someone else who's going to be joining us from your organization. Would you like to introduce her?
Yes, I'm quite literally off to save the planet. So that's part of my job. But my colleague Alison, who's heading up our education program, will be joining and part of the dialogue. So I wish you a fruitful discussion.
Thank you so much for joining us. Please, Alison, join us. All right. What did you all think? Oh, we have Masdar. And I think it's important to just give you guys a bit of context of who's sitting in the crowd. And please let me know, we have university students here in various majors, from finance to engineering. We have members of Awqaf here. We have guests from Amman. Nawartu hayakum. We have Diwa in the building, of course. Diwa. We have Masdar. We have more Diwa, mashallah. We have Expo 2020. We have Dubai Police. Always. Who else? Anyone else that I'm missing? Yes. Community Development Authority. So, yes. Okay, again, university students, welcome. So we have a very diverse engagement panel here. All right, so we have students, we have people who are already in organizations. Yes, sir, please. Ministry of Interior, hayakum. So, I want to start with you, Arwa. Can I? All right. Can we get a mic to Arwa? When I asked that question at the very beginning, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you really gave me a sign there. When I first said, are the public and private sectors doing enough to engage youth, you shook your head. You didn't nod your head, you shook your head. Why?
I don't know. Does this work?
Can we get the mic a little louder, please? It's sad.
All right.
Yep.
I personally worked in the private sector for about 4.5 years, and to be honest, there's little that I've seen that the company itself was doing. I've worked with other businesses, and as part of them being our stakeholders, and even then, there was little discussion about being environmentally friendly or even thinking in a green way.
So it's not just about they're not engaging youth, they're not even having a discussion about a greener economy and a more sustainable environment. They're not even having that discussion.
There's always that, oh, we should think about it, but there's very little that's actually being done in the businesses.
I see more nods coming. Does anyone agree with her? You agreed. You nodded.
Assalamu alaikum. Summer from Dubai Police. So I can agree and disagree. So I had a mixed experience. I worked before for private sectors, for environmental education, and I've seen the attempts and efforts of people trying to do conservation and sustainable work.
At the government level?
It was in the private sector.
In the private sectors.
I moved in the government level. At the beginning, I thought the same as her. Like, there is very little, no one cares, and probably people are just focused on their work. Especially that I'm working in Dubai Police, which is a security organization. It should be focused on this. So I thought there is no one who cares. But within 1 year, I managed to get into the Youth Council of Dubai Police.
Yep.
And I managed to raise my idea, which was probably the only idea regarding environmental and sustainability work. But within 1 month, I received a special request from the head of Dubai Police requesting me to present my idea in more details and how we can implement it. And if I compare it to other ideas, out of, for example, I think it was around 45 ideas presented on that day, and my idea was selected within, from the very few ones, and I was given the green light after a talk of 3 minutes only to the head of Dubai Police. He gave me the green light to start working on that initiative.
See, that's interesting. So maybe it's about just having the conversation. And it's interesting because I hear not a lot's being done. I hear some's being done. But, the thing that worries me here is there's a biased panel here, all right, who are all coming from that angle of, work on a sustainable future, sustainable earth. We don't have a member from the private sector who can defend themselves, or from the public sector. I would like to ask you, Alison, do you think that conversation's being had enough at the public and private sector level? I just want to take it a step up here because you raised a very important point that not only are we not engaging youth in it, that discussion isn't even being had. And is that what you're seeing?
I'm glad you called on me for that question. What was your name?
We have Arwa and we have, what was your name? We have Arwa and Shemma.
Shemna, okay.
Arwa and Shemma.
Okay, perfect. I wanted to recognize what you had just said. Now, I think the opportunity is there, and that's what I love about the UAE. If the conversation is not happening, you can start it. Even if you're the first one, if you take the initiative, you are likely to get your idea heard. And that doesn't exist everywhere in the world. So I really like the fact that if you don't see it, if you don't think it's there, take that initiative, challenge yourself, grab a group of people together and make yourself heard, because this is an opportunity where you can do so. This is a country that really allows that. I mean, the Minister of Artificial Intelligence, 27 years old, I believe. I mean, that's amazing. That's so unique, and that's pertinent here in the country. So I enjoy that you brought it up, because I do see that. It's not always apparent, and sometimes it's that one voice, it's that one person to get that ball rolling, that ripple effect to get it started, and usually you'll be in front of someone who will listen, and then changes happen quickly. So,
how many of you agree with that statement? That if you bring up the conversation, if you have the conversation, if you have an action item, that the UAE is a place that you'll probably get it done fairly quickly. How many of you agree with that statement? I don't see a lot of hands. I'm scared now. All right. Let me ask again. How many of you, I'll ask the question again. How many of you agree that if you have that conversation, as you said, as Shemma went, in her work at Dubai Police, she had an idea, a green idea, sustainability idea, and it got implemented very quick. You said you were given a green light. So, to start. And you were saying that this UAE is one of the rare countries that has a very quick reaction to these type of things. How many of you agree that if you just have that conversation on having a greener economy and more sustainable environment, that in the UAE it will get done fairly quick if it's feasible? All right. That's a better number now. So I want to ask the question to you guys. I want to put it a bit on you now. I'm not going to sit here and go into you guys, you don't do enough for the youth. Do you think, I mean, you talked about the unsung heroes, that the youth are living this lifestyle. And I don't want to challenge what he says, but I want to challenge you guys. Do you believe youth in the UAE are living a more greener lifestyle, a more sustainable lifestyle? No. Can I get a show of hands? How many people think how many people think that the population in general, and I'm not talking about companies here, are living green lifestyles? Hands up. Oh my God. Not one hand went up. Half a hand. You shook your head straight away when we said youth weren't living green lifestyles. Can we give her a mic? Can you talk about that a little bit? Why do you think that is?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
My name is Ghazal. Well, I think the youth is not educated enough. Like, for example, I had to take a...
Can we raise the volumes of the mics up a little bit, please?
I think the youth is not aware. They don't know what a green community is. They're not educated enough. For example, in my university, if I did not take a sustainability course, I wouldn't have been here. I wouldn't have an idea of what a green life is. So in schools, we're only taught, okay, reuse, recycle. That's it. We don't go deep in it.
Interesting.
We're not educated enough.
Lack of knowledge. Anyone want to take, Simon, you want to take that?
I don't know enough about the UAE to be able to answer it.
In general.
But in general, I think that, there is... there should be more education, certainly. But I also think it's then the responsibility of the people who have had that education or have read the newspaper article about it or whatever it is to then spark the conversation. Because that's the sort of the privilege we have now of having information at the tip of our fingertips. Is that if you say to someone, have you thought about the impact or whatever it is, if you spark a conversation, then it's so easy to get information about it very, very quickly.
So Simon's saying that the information's there. But I think it's...
You think we read? We don't read.
Last year was a year of reading. That was last year.
But, for example, I don't read. I personally think a sustainability course should be mandatory in every university.
Couldn't agree more. Completely
Even
agree.
in schools.
I would love that.
Even in schools?
Even in schools. I think we should start
Schools
young.
as well, even high schools, I think. Because we have these, DWA is doing some campaigns and, let's say, green charger, the Shams Dubai, some awareness in the lifestyle. But still, I think schools should be taking care of that as well.
Simon.
I'm actually going to change from agree to disagree because
I don't think they should have it.
I don't think there should be a sustainability course because I think the sustainability should be in every single part of the curriculum. If we're learning about science, if we're learning about physics, part of that course should be about sustainability. If you're learning about food, we should learn about sustainability. Every single part of the course should have sustainability.
You're saying the actual entire education experience should have an element or elements of sustainability embedded in it.
Absolutely. Everything we do is related to, has some impact, and we should learn about that.
Then apart from this, I think we all should be role models. I mean, some of us know that this should be done, but we don't do it. So if you do it and you teach your sisters or brothers, let's say people around you that learn from you, you'll be a role model to them.
No, that was interesting. You had a comment, then we'll go to the gentleman in the back because I'm really worried that no one, this is one of the first times that I ever asked a question and no one raised their hand. Well, you did. You raised. Sorry, I didn't see you, ma'am. I apologize. And we had half a hand here when I asked about how many of us live a sustainable lifestyle here. So I want to take your question, ma'am. If you could just introduce yourself, then we'll go to the gentleman right in the back, please.
Assalamualaikum. So my name is Mira. So first, to add on Ghazal, what he said, I think different entities need to choose the proper channel to reach out to the youth, to see what kind of activities, what kind of things, what kind of lifestyle they're living. Then they can amend on it. Just to add on what entities are doing. So there was an idea by an employee in DIWA to have like a climate change champion program. So I'm proudly one of them. Basically, the program is to take one of the employees, to take 5 of the employees to the regions where it is actually impacted by climate change, and to have a hand-on experience and come back and share the awareness. To be honest, this trip had changed my mindset 360 degree. So I came back, started to spread the awareness with my team, and to also to spread it through the segments, different segments, kids, colleagues, our families. So I think if the youth started to get hands-on and experience the exact or the right impact on, like in future, what will happen? Will we still on planet Earth, or there will be some like climate change effects, direct impact? So I think hands-on experience and choosing the right channels.
Thank you. Great points. Gentleman in the back. Now, I was told not to take questions from the back, but we'll take one because you wanted to be engaged. Please.
It's not a question. However, I would just like to provide some answers about why we are not heading towards a sustainable lifestyle. Because we lack choices. We know what we have to do. We know what we are supposed to do or how to help the environment. However, do you know where this bottle of water came from or the manufacturing process? No one does. That was my main point.
I think I agree with you on the choices part. I think that's a fantastic point. Like, I mean, it's hard to get around the UAE if you don't have a car. So you can't like take public transport. If you wanted to get an electric car, you know, it's not like they're selling Priuses at the Toyota showroom for you to make that choice.
Even if we got an electric car, the generation source of the
exactly.
electricity.
There is no choices. You have to get a car, and you know you have to get a big car apparently, and you know we're all guilty of that. Yani. I'm absolutely with you on that, and I'd like to bring it back to let's talk with DIWA on this. I mean, you guys are the Department of Water and Electricity. I mean, he brought up water, we brought up electric cars and all these things. Do you think enough is being done in the community to give people choices? In the UAE specifically?
I think there are choices available. Maybe they're limited at this time, but in future we're going to get more choices. I think you can see that the government is going towards sustainability and such movements. I think if you give it the time, you'll find some more choices. You can do, I mean, if you want to live a sustainable lifestyle, there are some choices available now. They might be simple and small choices, but they're available. You can, I mean, Chef's Dubai program is there. You can definitely choose to install some solar panels on your rooftop. Challenges are going to be there, of course. But if you're ready to do some sacrifices, and if you're ready to face some challenges, because at the end, I mean, we live at our homes, but if you think of it, the earth is our big home at the end. And if you do some effort to take care of it and to live more sustainable, this is your choice.
Great points, Nola. Simon.
Could I ask a question to anyone from DIWA, which is that about choices? So in the Netherlands, for example, you can choose either a different electricity company or even within one electricity company for a normal electricity contract or a clean energy contract. And if you choose a clean energy contract, they'll guarantee that they've bought all of the electricity from green sources. And what you see is that when people come to renew their electricity contract and they see, okay, I can either choose this one or this one, they're the same price, this one's green, this one isn't, well, of course I'm going to go for the green contract. So I think it's those sort of choices where the private sector or public sector, depending on where you are, can really make a difference.
Yep. Thank you, Simon. We have a question over here. Please.
Yeah. Yes. It's not a question but a comment on what he mentioned. So in DIWA we have a clear strategy that's aligned with our national strategy in Dubai and UAE is to have clean energy by about 75% of our energy to be produced by solar by 2050. So we are working towards those options, towards having the greener and renewable energy options. And one of the initiatives that Noura mentioned, Shams Dubai, that's one of the main initiatives that DIWA has undertaken to encourage residents, to encourage commercial customers to adopt solar energy themselves by installing solar panels on their rooftops and thereby producing their own energy. And I just wanted to add another comment about choices for being more sustainable. Sometimes you might complicate things. You know, we think going sustainable is let's have a solar rooftop, or let's use these innovative gadgets that might be costly. However, sometimes going sustainable is so simple. It's as simple as using like a refillable water bottle. So this you can just use like one refillable water, and at DIWA, sorry,
no, please,
no. But I just wanted to mention that the water we get from DIWA is actually pure, it's clean drinking water. All you have to do is install like a filter system in your house, or make sure that your tank is clean, and by that you're just using waters from the tap. You don't have to use plastic bottles. You don't have to have that emissions from or waste from the water plastic usage. So it's just a simple solution that if people adopt one by one, it will have a greater impact. So you don't always have to go for the big solution. Even small steps can add up to a greater impact.
Okay, thank you for bringing that up. I'm coming back to your two comments or questions in just a second, but you've just sparked something here. Okay? You talk about, and this is not coming from me, I'm quoting. This person was a naysayer when it came to the minimal differences that you brought up. And I'm going to put his point on the stage for all of you to discuss. Because you brought up saying, you know, we can make the simplest of changes. We can change a plastic bottle. We can change the light bulb. And then this person says, okay, I'm going to do that. And we can all do that. But if everyone did that, the change is minimal. And these industrialists are still going to flare, are still going to take the forests out, are still going to do all that stuff. And all these little changes that we make will have little impact if all these big companies, or these big energy companies, or whoever it is, are still going about their negative practices and not incorporating the environment or sustainability. What do you think of that argument?
I mean, small changes by lots of people make a difference. And these, I mean, at the end, the government is going, the government is going towards sustainability, and these private sectors learn as well. And everyone is going to follow what the government is going for. I think small changes by lots of people make a difference.
It will make a difference. That's not that I agree with you. But the thing I'm putting on the table, is it enough to balance some of the negative practices that are happening from industrial organizations around the world? Please.
Go ahead.
No, after you.
I just wanted to say, oftentimes that will trickle into the workplace, like from the original discussion. If you're doing those little changes that equal big changes in your personal life, it trickles to your friends, then it trickles to your colleagues, then it trickles up in the organization or down in the organization, and then you have those larger impacts over time. I think it really, I've been in the UAE 11 years, and we've moved in such a positive direction.
Yep.
So it's, although it might not look that way, if you're just looking at the big picture, if you look at the history and where we've gone and where we're going with the different entities such as DIWA, I think we're really going on a right track. Nothing happens overnight, but
Yes.
it is those little changes that add to big impact. And I think, and I also just wanted to comment on Simon's point as well. From a curriculum perspective, I think sustainability as well can be drawn into every single lesson plan, every discussion, the discussions you have with your friends, your peers, students, colleagues, etc. It's up to you to open that discussion. It's up to you to open that document or that article and read it and then share it. So I think that's really, really what we need to take initiative on.
Thank you, Alison. Simon, please.
So I agree with both the naysayer and the opposite, because the person you're referring to is absolutely right. If we all reduce our carbon footprint by 1%, if we get every single person on the planet to reduce their carbon footprint by 1%, then we've reduced total carbon emissions by 1%, and that is, we're way away from what we need to do. So I agree. However, an example of the water bottle, I mean, I think this is such a great example, and it goes back to the comment earlier about, how do you what can we do in order to educate people, and we don't read newspapers. I agree. if you're given a water bottle, let's say, at work, or if you're given even the option to refill a water bottle at work, then all of a sudden you have this water bottle that you're going to take to your friend's house, let's say, and you're going to you're going to pull it out of your bag, let's say, to drink some water, and then someone's going to say, hey, what's going on there? What are you doing? And then that sparks a conversation. And that's, as you were saying, those conversations lead to more conversations, and I genuinely believe that they can lead to a sort of a tide of change in which those big changes that also need to happen will become inevitable.
See, the thing that he talks about, like the two angles here, and the reason that I brought it up was the thing that Layla said, and it reminded me of this point, when she said the youth should demand more from their brands. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, maybe our energy, because, I'm not a decision maker here. I don't define, our global policies on how we use energy. I wasn't there at the COP meetings. Were any of you? Like, can you guys make a decision today and it's done? Those are at levels above us. So where is our energy best spent? Is it best spent on something like that, which I agree with, so I'm biased, to push on the brands? There's some brands that are known. I'm not going to name names. No one's getting thrown under the bus here. But who have known to take negative practices, like a beverage company is known to suck all the water out of a community just to produce their beverage and leave people. And it was very negative practices. If you nod your head, know what I'm talking about. So are we better saying, you know what? No. We don't accept that. We're going to go on social media. We're going to sign petitions. We're going to push these brands to take better practices, because that's where the impact happens. Because we don't want the 1%. We want you to do all that so all the other companies get scared. Then we reduce it by 10%, 20%, whatever percent. But to have that big impact. Now, that's where I want to answer your question. But before, do you mind if I put it on pause for just a second? Or do you guys, something to do with that? Okay, thanks. So here's my question to you, based on that point. Where do you think the energy of the youth is best spent in creating a greener economy? Is it in using bottles? Is it in using... So we have 1, we have 2, we have 3. Shema, we heard from you. Do you mind if we take from the gentleman behind you, and we'll come right back? Sir, can we get a mic to the gentleman right there in the back, please? If you could just give us your name and which entity you're from, please.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Leslie. I'm not affiliated to any organization, university.
Welcome.
Thank you. I just have one comment, really, and it's going to probably just touch on what you just asked. I think what we need to also realize and not shy away from is there's a big generational gap between world leaders and young people. If I'm sitting here and I'm coming to a summit of this nature, I understand because I'm here. For a normal person that's at home, I'm not going to only generalize it only for the UAE, but everywhere else in the world, any discussions that have to do with, green initiatives do not interest me, because I am not personally affected by them until something happens, like a natural disaster, a fire.
Oh, you mean like in your community?
Do you understand?
All right, yeah.
So it's far-fetched for me to take a step if world leaders are not going to take the initiative as well to hold companies, big companies, responsible for what they do, which touches on with the point that you were making. Because if I'm one person, as I am, carrying a water bottle, I'm one person. What am I going to do to stand up to fight against a company that's doing bigger than what I can actually fight against? So I think young people have to have that mentality of global responsible leadership, where they take initiative themselves and even so challenge the status quo, challenge the government, so that the government itself can challenge big companies. Because at the end of the day, I'm just a young person and I'm just one person.
Okay, interesting point. So our energy is best spent raising awareness to our governments to put pressure on these companies to take better, greener practices. Shema, and then to the gentleman in the front. Please, Shema.
Can I correct that my name is Summer?
Selma.
No, it's okay. Summer.
Summer, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I apologize.
No, it's fine. My point is we need to work in all directions. It's not right to differentiate that we should only work on this direction, whether it's from bottom up, down, top up, down, or bottom up. We need to work on all directions. I've been to conservation programs and conservation projects that people have done brilliant job. They did all the science, they know all the studies, they have all the statistics and all the plans. But if the people who are going to implement the change are not caring, or they think that their work is not enough, and that they neglect the 1% that we are talking about, and they think it's not enough, then the mentality of the generation or the community doesn't change. We are still stuck in the same place.
Yep.
However, if we have that mentality changed, I give an example of one of my colleagues or friends who have come to an educational program, citizen scientist programs, and he said like one thing that changed him is his daughter. She is 3 years old, and she was walking with him on the beach, and she saw the people throwing the rubbish on the ground, and she was told that it's not good. And she went ahead and spoke to that person and told him, you shouldn't throw it here, you should throw it in the rubbish bin. He said that action of his daughter changed his mentality, because of that, he decided to change everything in his house. So he became a bigger change. And if that person manages to affect or change the mentality or the culture of the people around him, maybe he will reach his boss, and his boss will reach his boss. Absolutely. And then it becomes a culture of the community. It doesn't become an individual impact. So individual practices, if they are practiced, they become a cultural thing about the community. And that's why I think it's really important.
That's an inspiring story. Thank you so much for sharing that. Gentleman there, and then we'll move on to Hamid's points, and the lady from at the front as well. Please.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much. My name is Majid. I'm from DWO. I'm a network analyst in DWO. I think I'm noticing here is a lot of blame going around. People blaming the government blaming the people, companies blaming people. And I think it's a waste of energy, to be honest. Maybe people don't agree with me here because saying, beverage companies are, dumping waste into the lake or whatever. But in the end, the beverage company is serving the people. And people are demanding for more beverage. So it's a question of us as individuals. Why do we keep on buying from the same company? Why don't we stop buying? We make our own sacrifice. So I think change comes from within. We're all in the same sinking boat. And everybody's blaming everybody else, but nobody cares about the water getting inside the boat. So I think that's where we should start. Being early adopters, will be rewarded.
So Majid, you agree? Majid, correct? So you agree with the gentleman's point that our energy is best spent, because you say that to stop buying the beverage to make those decisions.
Yeah, like Miss.
So it's purely personal, but so our energy. So I guess what you're saying is our energy is best spent on ourselves.
Correct, to a certain extent, of course. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, I'm with you on that. Can we go to the lady at the front, then we'll go to you, Hamid? Is that okay? Thank you, brother. Please.
Thank you. My name is Moza Naimi from Masdar Institute.
Moza.
Just a remark from this discussion. Sustainability, for instance, if we go deep down in UAE, it's not something new. If we think about it, how many years our parents, grandparents sustained such a harsh environment? No water, nothing. So they practice sustainability all those hundreds of years to sustain in such environment, desert in the Middle East. So I think the new generation, I am agreeing with the gentleman here, that the new generation, we are part of this generation. We are not, sustainability is not something new. We should connect to our roots first. Second, the awareness. And the awareness, it's like a framework. It's come from top down, down up. And it's integrated, embedded in the curriculum in all stages. It's not just about practice or a project or just one subject, because we pass all of this already. And so I think it's an integrated effort that can accumulate it together. And I think regarding your point and the discussion, it's a small impact cannot change. Look to Germany. The population take a decision 70s. Greenwich movement, it was a decision from people that refuse nuclear. And now Germany is one of the leading countries in sustainability using solar. Even they don't have solar as much as us. So we, from people around the world and culture around the world, we can see this movement. It has an effect. So it's not just government putting a role, not just company putting a role. It's an integrated effort, framework that go up, down, down, up, and embed it in the whole system.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that, Moza. Hamid, I apologize for keeping you waiting.
First, I would like to thank the panelists of this great discussion, and I would like to thank you, Khalid, for getting all those things together.
Thank you.
My name is Hamid. I'm from DWA. I tend to agree with all the youth here when they say that the sustainability is actually a collaborative action and a collaborative effort that needs to be done by not only the individuals, but the individuals, the government, and the private sector. Coming from a government sector, I would like to speak a little bit about where I come from.
Please.
DWA, a few years ago, we had a vision which is called to be a world-class utility. But then, giving the government direction of having a sustainable development plan and sustainable development visions, we have revised the vision of DWA to be a sustainable, innovative, world-class utility. So you could see the sustainability part embedded in the vision of the company. And we have a very challenging targets of reducing the carbon emissions by 16% in 2021. So reducing this amount of carbon emissions in the Emirate of Dubai is not going to happen only by government or only by private sector or only by individuals. It comes from all the three components together. Now, what are the things that the government is doing? Recently, we have launched the EV infrastructure, electric vehicles infrastructure in Dubai. Now, we know that in Dubai, the fuel cost is relatively, or in the UAE in general, the fuel cost is relatively less compared to the US or the European companies, or European countries. And for that, we have launched a very huge project of having charging stations all over Dubai with free charging. So we're telling the public, okay, you go and buy a car, and you will have your car charged for free until 2019. So that's part of the efforts that the government is putting to create the change and to give the choice to the society of selecting their way of life. And one of them is going from a fuel-based car to an electric car. Now there are other small changes which Mariam has talked about. For example, the water bottle, which she talked about. Other thing is, I don't know why we do this, but we keep our air conditions on when we are shopping in a shopping mall. We are sitting in a coffee shop for I don't know how many hours, and then our AC is just on in our rooms. Now, this small changes, it creates a big difference.
Yeah.
If we switch off the AC, I know it's very hot here. Switch off the AC when you're out, and before you come, 5 minutes before you come, 10 minutes before you come, wherever you name it, just ask someone to turn on the AC. Why keeping it on for 24/7? This is a huge energy consumption, which increases our carbon footprint. Now, there are a lot of aspects. I don't want to take much time.
I appreciate it.
I don't want to take much time. There are a lot of things that we do to create this behavioral change in the community and emphasize that it is a collaborative effort between the government sector, private sector, and the different individuals.
Collaboration. I love it. Hamid, thank you so much for sharing that. Before I move on to the next point, we have a question from the lady in the front. Please.
Hello, how are you? I
good,
actually have some comments about
Please.
this. My name is Rasha Saleh, and I work in the private sector. I think sustainability is divided into three parts: economy, environment, and society.
Yes.
The government here in the UAE is working so much on providing sustainability, and I think it is provided in education. But I believe that we're lacking influencers. Layla Abdul-Latif mentioned that social media is a good place to share with the people and especially with the youth about the sustainability. So I believe this should be used, and I was asked this when I attended something similar in NYU University, Abu Dhabi. Is the UAE doing enough? And I said no. But if you ask me the question now again, I'll say yes, but are we as youth doing enough? And I thought about it and I thought, no, we're not doing enough. We're not changing our lifestyle. I went to find influencers because I can see fashionistas everywhere. I can see fitness. I actually follow you, Khalid, on Instagram. And I can see how you influence people around. And I thought, why not start this? And I started a social panel, actually, a social account called Intergreen, which comes from the fact that we are responsible as youth to change. And I started changing my lifestyle here in the UAE, showing people what they can substitute. So I started with simple things like plastic bottles. Now I don't use them, or I try to recycle them. I have a recycle station at home. And this changed the concept and how my family sees it. Now my family also recycles. My friends also ask about it. More people ask about it. How can we do this? How can we initiate? So I think we're lacking influencers, people to show us how we can do it. It's there.
I think I agree with your point completely. Okay, and we're all about solutions here today. All right, so just a quick one on your solution. We have an influencer up here. We have, as Simon pointed to her, as soon as you said that, we have someone who is dedicating every day going into work to this work. Correct? Am I right? To the decathlon.
Oh.
That's your work.
Well,
right?
Yes, I'm part of the R&D Center.
R&D Center.
And we're responsible for organizing the Solar Decathlon, yes.
There you go. So you have someone here. Talk about her. Bring up her name in discussions. Do you have Twitter or Instagram?
Yes.
Okay. If she's comfortable sharing this work, there you go. And that's
exactly.
how it's done.
If more people involve it in their daily life, show it around,
I think we
people
should
will be
speak up
inspired.
about these actions. We should, whenever we think there should be a change, we should talk about it. One time, our R&D director came to me and was like, Noura, I was in the movies yesterday, and it was 40 degrees outside or 50 degrees, and they're like, do you want blankets? And I'm like, blankets for what? And it's freezing inside, so why are we doing this? Yeah, so I think if you think there should be a change, you speak about it.
But that's one of my things, like having those discussions, as she said. But also, Yahi, are we doing enough to promote the good people, right? I mean, it's on us. I mean, if we... Hamad, do you have a point on that? Please.
One of the things that DIWA has done, as Mira has talked about, is the climate change program.
The ambassadors.
Sorry?
What are they
ambassadors.
Called? Ambassadors.
The Climate Change Champions program, in which it's trying to create those kind of role models or influencers.
There we go.
Which can go and talk to the public and try to aware them and change their behavior.
Yep.
We now have 15 climate change champions. 5 of them went to the Amazon, 5 went to the Antarctica, and 5 went to the Tanzania. And sorry. Okay, so she's the owner of the program. So then I think she should speak about it for a while.
So do we have any of the climate change ambassadors in here? One? And any of the decathlon team? Are there any of them in here? We have one from the decathlon team.
And let me tell you...
we have 2 decathlon members? Yeah, okay. We have a couple, okay. Do you mind coming up? Because I want to ask you a question just before when she's done. Is that okay? One of you?
And also, I am a carbon ambassador, so it is a separate program also.
MashaAllah, you're like a professional ambassador. I love it. You're going to be... I want to ask a member... You wanted to say a couple of things? So I just wanted to ask if we can get a mic over there for the decathlon. It's something that your team is working on. Like, why did you join this project? You work on the... What's your name?
My name is Aya. I'm from University of Sharjah, one of the decathletes in the solar
Perfect.
Middle East.
All right. So why did you join the program?
Because before it's not a competition. It's more like an educational program. We're involved with the private sector, with the government sector. We work. It's a cycle between education, awareness, private sector, like public sector. It's a cycle. It's not a line. So it's good to be involved, and they're not teaching us. We are teaching them. It's a mutual Hello?
Yeah,
okay.
We can hear you.
It's we're spreading the words about the competition. We are doing state-of-the-art sustainable housing, and will be presented next year, inshallah. So so they are happy. They are willing to help us, to give us some help in this thing, because public sector needs demand, and demand needs awareness, and awareness comes from the education, not school, not
textbooks. No, it's more like a lifestyle. So it comes from the parents, friends, everyone. So it's good to be part of the solar decathlon because we're learning stuff we couldn't learn in the school or university. I graduated last semester, but I still have a lot to learn about sustainability. It's more like a lifestyle and a practice, not just a textbook. So, I mean, in the solar decathlon, I mean, we learn how to learn. We learn how to do things.
Amazing.
From start, like things we could never do in schools. Because it's outside, it's work.
You still didn't experience the competition
Oh.
spirit, I think.
There's more to
come, inshallah.
Yes, and I wish all the luck for all the teams
Thank
this
you.
time and the next competition as
Thank
well.
you for sharing your experience. Now, I want to bring this. We've got about like 20 minutes left, so I want to sort of bring this together back to where we were, back to the question. All right. So I'll come to it in just 1 second. Decathlete?
Climate change ambassador.
Climate change. Okay, let's talk about the climate change ambassador. We'll give you the mic for a little bit. So, do you want to tell us? So, one about your experience, why you're a climate change ambassador, and do you feel, because this is important, because you raised the whole point about influencer. Do you feel that your role is having an impact and an influence on the community?
So, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fuad Al-Amiri. I'm an engineer at DWA, and I was part of the Climate Change Ambassadors program. And this year we went to Tanzania. So I think one of the main purposes of this program is to reduce that gap in awareness that we have, the importance of sustainability. Unfortunately, the impacts of climate change, we are experiencing it today, but not in our country, for example. For Africa, for example, are one of the first countries that are experiencing these changes. So by going on these expeditions to Tanzania, to the South Pole, to the Amazon, these critical places in the world, hopefully we can transfer the knowledge and reduce the gap to the youth, to the community, and show them that these impacts are happening. We need to change our lifestyle. We need to take action today before getting affected here in our society, in our country.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, since we only have 20 minutes left, we're not leaving here. We have 20 minutes left, but we'll stay here till we find a solution. Because the question, we need to get an answer to it. So, please. Decathlete, would you like to share?
Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm from Pakistan, and I'm one of the team member from Pakistan, Team Pakistan.
Welcome.
I would really like to point out, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. I would really like to point out certain facts. I have been brought up in the Gulf, particularly in Oman and UAE. So when we were in the school in class 3 maybe, we used to have an activity at the end of the school where we used to call ourselves Baldiyatul Madrasa, like the municipality of the school, where we have to clean our school ourselves. It was back in Pakistan School Salala. And within my schooling here in UAE, every year there was an event like Clean Up the World, UNEP. It was a joint event with Dubai municipality, where children from all over the schools, all over Dubai, they used to gather and clean up a specific area. My point is that sustainability, it is by definition, it is for the next generation. You cannot impose sustainability to one generation and let it be responsible for it. It is a cyclic process. One generation has to learn it, and the next other generation will benefit from it. Within the same context, I would really like to point out that the government of UAE, particularly, they are very much ready, very much accelerated in their efforts. Although the youth and the private sector is lagging behind, whereas in the other parts of the world, the private sector is the one that pushes the government or the youth. So it must be really applauded by the government efforts, particularly the DWA efforts, by which the Solar Decathlon, a competition which has been possible. The other point regarding the influencer, there are two types of influencers. One particularly like you, the one who is on social media, the one who can speak, the one whose face is visible to the world, and the one who is behind the shadows. We as an engineers, as a technocrat people, we are behind the shadows, those who are working, those who are influencing the environment, those who are actually promoting sustainability. So Nora, also, I'm glad to find people like Nora here, whose efforts have really helped us to be where we are today. And another point regarding the university. The university where I come from, National University of Sciences and Technology, Pakistan, plastic bags are prohibited for usage there. It's a very big university, like 16 kilometer squares, I think. So in the whole of the region, plastic bags, they are not allowed. No shopkeeper. There is no fine for everyone. No youth will get fined for doing anything, but the shopkeepers, if they will use, they will get fined. This is one way to change things. You cannot blame youth for everything. Youth has a process. For example, for me, I have been through very cyclic processes of cleaning Dubai, cleaning Oman, and I feel like it's my responsibility to the earth, as Khalifatul Ard, to clean it, to make it sure that the resources are preserved. Likewise, each and every youth member will eventually get to know. And when these youth members, they will be one day, inshallah, the leaders of the world, they will have this decision to make whether they have to conserve or to pollute the world. At that time, they will make the right decision. And inshallah, the world will see the sustainability in its true sense. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for sharing your points. Very inspiring. Now, you basically summarized the entire dialogue. I love it. You make my job easy. Now,
can I throw out a quick question?
Of course you can.
Just because you mentioned plastic bags, I'm just wondering, out of the youth here, how many bring reusable or cloth or jute or whatever bags to the grocery store? Show of honest hands.
Ooh, you're...
No judgment
when
here.
you're studying. 2, 3. You got maybe about 15%.
Yeah.
20%. You count for a lot of us.
Totally no judgment. I just, we know that plastic bags are not good for the environment, right? They end up in our oceans. They're detrimental to sea life. They're detrimental to marine life. And that's one change that we can all do. And again, no judgment here. But one thing that we can do to look into that change is bring your own bag to the grocery store, as an example. Like Mariam mentioned with the water jug.
Yep.
Bring a reusable hot mug when you get your coffee. And again, no judgment. Nobody's perfect, certainly not myself. But it's just these are little things that we can do. And again, that goes back to the discussion of little or big. But yeah, I was just interested in that element. So.
Thank you. Now, let's see if we can get to the bottom of this. Okay, well, you have 3 points. Thinking let's just take them now. Let's go. I'm just trying to be respectful of time. So you got 3 points. Snappy, Arwa, and then we'll sort of see if we can come to a solution or an action item that we can all leave here and start working on, inshallah.
Okay,
Please, Arwa, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so my 3 points are, 1, in terms of education, we should start from kindergarten, and that's where they should learn the basics, and then as they grow older, they should kind of get more information as part of their curriculum. But here's the thing with education, we should educate the parents as well. We can't just stick to the kids, because if it's in school it's going like the recycling way, the green way, and at home it's not. It kind of sends like different messages to the kids. So it's very important to educate their parents as well. Maybe have a green day at school or something like that as a solution to that. In terms of the businesses, the companies, the beverage company you mentioned. In China, for example, they have laws that if the carbon emission is higher than the norm for your company, you pay a specific tax or a specific fine. That could be implemented to businesses here as well. Maybe just increase or decrease the CO2 emissions based on how much we're using it in the country. And in terms of influencers, you guys all got messages from Sheikh Faza for the fitness challenge, right?
30-30.
So we could do something similar to that in terms of environment, and maybe have an app that gives you a reminder of simple things that you could do on the daily in order for you to start implementing them. So
thank you, Alwa. Excellent points. You have a point, ma'am? Okay, we have one final point, and then we'll Okay, 2 final points. This is a youth dialogue. We want to get the youth speaking. We have 1, 2, and then we'll go to the wrap up with the solution, inshallah. Please.
My name is Hiba Shahi. I work for the Ministry of Climate Change and Environment.
Welcome. I was just at your event at Lush Cosmetics in Mirdif. Yeah, good stuff.
I'm not trying to be biased here, but working with the ministry, I know how much work the government, not just the ministry, all entities that deal with the environment, even the private sector and the semi-government, is doing to raise awareness regarding sustainability and environment and protection of wildlife. And trust me, they're doing a lot of work. Even some of the people here spoke about the curriculum of the school.
About?
The curriculum of the
Curriculum.
school. And I've seen the curriculum now, and the ministry and all entities are working with the Ministry of Education, and the curriculum have changed. If you see the kids' books now, it has protected areas. We were never told about protected areas in the UAE, and a lot of material on wildlife and so on. I think I'm just going to add an idea as well. Sorry, the speaker from WWF spoke about plastic bags, and I do believe that we had a big campaign on plastic bags and how UAE is free of plastic bags, and we expect people to not use plastic bags. But again, if I ask any of the people here, we are environmentally cautious. Do you know what dugongs are? Have you ever seen dugongs? Have you ever seen turtles in the sea? Do you know how many species of sharks we have in the UAE? I think the problem is not just awareness. It's the fact that we are disconnected with nature. We are a generation, we didn't really grow up going diving or going to the sea, learning about
Moses'
the
point.
species. Yeah, learning about the species in the UAE.
Do we have another mic? We have someone who wants to, I think, add to your very passionately.
Yeah, I think we were raised to go to the mall or be on our computers and iPads. So how do you expect me to protect something I was never attached to? I am not passionate to protect. I've never seen it in my life.
I have something to add. Yeah, 2 things to add to that. I was in the same shoes as you, but I passed through exchange, lifetime exchanging experience. The first one, the youth pivot, and the second one, it's the survey that Masdar done it, and they presented before a few months about the Generation Z that they've been mentioned. More than thousands of youth being surveyed around the world regarding the climate change, and it was shocking that the first major topic they are caring about is climate change. They believe in climate change, and they think they have the power to change it and do something and contribute. So the youth, even if we say that they don't care, it shows that from the survey they care. Secondly, I attend last week the TIVET, the youth forum, and I participate in the youth declaration regarding climate change and writing that declaration. It was thousands of students from around the world, and it was really shocking. We are talking different language, sitting for the whole day discussing about climate change, how we can really participate in changing, and we pursued government to change, and all of them are involved and exciting about it. That day I got out and said, so maybe we don't trust about ourselves. The youth are really caring about this. Maybe we don't see it on the surface. Maybe we see only fashionista, but deep down, we are a changer. Every individual is a changer.
It's true.
Our kids are a changer. School are a changer. Person is a changer. Even a grandpa and grants is a changer. So everyone can contribute with the small things. Even we think that from the surface we don't care, but deep down on the surface, because we have one at the end, one faith. It's one earth, as our colleague here when she mentioned. It's one earth. We cannot change it. Thank you.
Do you want to say something to close off on your point?
Yes, I just wanted to add that if we perhaps teach our kids about the environment, we take them out to nature and they learn to love the nature and the species, they would be even more passionate about it.
Yep.
It would drive them even more, and it will help them like choose perhaps wiser and know why they're doing it as well.
Thank you so much. Excellent points. So we're going to close off with the points. Lady at the back right here. If you could just give everyone your name and who you represent. I think it's on. Oh, it's not. Yep.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum. I'm Ayman. One thing I'd like to speak about, one of us said that, in China there's fine, there's tax for those who have more than normal emissions, carbon emissions. So what I want to say is that maybe instead of a negative motivational tool, if we bring about like maybe a positive motivational tool, it would help more. Like, for example, you know how companies fight for market share, right? They fight for it because they're getting something in return, that is profits. Okay? If the government could take an initiative to award the companies or the public even for their efforts towards, whatever green lifestyle or green economy that we're talking about, maybe then people would want to imbibe it in their lifestyle. Maybe they would then want to inculcate it. And everybody wants something tangible. Profits are tangible. But if we say that, like Leslie, he said, Leslie there. Yeah. He said that, 1% isn't going to make a difference. 1% might not make a difference today, but then the same 1% tomorrow is going to make a difference, because right now we're the youth. Maybe we're just studying or whatever, but then tomorrow we're going to be the ones leading the companies.
Inshallah.
So all those decisions are on us. And like profits are tangible, saying that, your green lifestyle is going to positively impact the environment is intangible, which is why we don't go ahead with it. I'm speaking generally from the youth's point of view. Yeah. So.
Okay, we had a point on that. Were you finished with your point, ma'am?
Yeah, it's okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, because if you want to finish, go ahead, and then we can move on to the gentleman.
I think it'd be better if we had a discussion.
You want to go? You're all right. If you guys want to go back and forth, yeah, sure.
No, it was to add that you were absolutely right, and I was just adding to it. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ansel Cardozo. I'm from Manipal. Thank you.
Welcome.
Everything that everyone said right now in this discussion, and I've been itching to say this, so sorry for, I know the time constraint.
No, please take your time.
The gentleman on my left, my bad, sorry. He said that it does make a difference. Not one person doesn't make a difference, and you said that one day we'll be the leaders, but not everyone's going to be a leader. And this leads me to go to influence. The gentleman in the far, he's over there, the dude from Pakistan. He said that we need to. I'm sorry, I'm super nervous.
No, take your time, man.
Okay.
Okay.
He said that we need to. We can. When time comes, they will know. The generation of the next will know that they have to make a decision. But we don't have that time. We don't have that time. We need. If anything, the influencers of now, they're amazing. Kudos to everyone who's influencing, but we do not have enough. We need Facebook level, Casey Neistat level, things that just blow up. We need influence, because knowledge is amazing, but if you don't have people who are going to implement it, that's it. Thank you.
No, I'm with you 100%. So let's talk about. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so what I was saying is, maybe not every youth would be a leader, but every leader will definitely be from the youth, because we are the future generation. And one more thing, what was the last thing you said?
That we need to implement now. We need high level of engagement. We need high level influencers to impact now. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, that's exactly
right.
Exactly. I support him. Firstly, we don't have time. We
no,
can't.
You take your time.
Not. I
don't
meant
worry, please.
Time.
Okay,
for
time. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Please hurry up then, so you can go save the environment.
We don't have time, because if we take more time, it's going to go from bad to worse, and then it's just a hurry-burry, and we won't have proper solutions then. So we need to start implementing this green lifestyle from now. Secondly, it's, I think, more than influence. It's about initiative and leadership. When the youth is given an opportunity to lead an initiative, it is an influence. For example, personal opinion, if I saw somebody from maybe an older generation leading an initiative and another who is from my generation leading an initiative, I would rather go for that initiative because I would understand. There's no generation gap. So I would rather go with them than with the older generation because our thinking and our mindset is going to be totally different. So I think in the end what I'd like to say is the youth needs to be given a platform, an opportunity to lead, and obviously their plans to be taken forward.
Interesting. Okay, I'm going to end the solution. I'm sorry, sir. I have like 8 minutes. You've got a big smile. Give him the mic. He's like, take one question. Alaikum salam.
It is working now?
Yeah. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Khalif Al-Niyadi. I'm from the Youth Vision Council of Islamic Affairs and Charitable Activities Department. God damn it, that's so long. All right. I would like to add a comment. People around here are very positive, but some of them, I'm feeling the vibe of negativity. They're saying that we need influencers. I would like to remind you, each individual of you are the influencer. The minor thing matters. It matters a lot. When you try to contribute, you will affect around you. The guys who affect around you, those guys will affect others. So keep in mind, each one of you can change and into positive, inshallah.
I love it.
Yeah.
That was a great note.
I love you, man, too.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot. Wish you best of luck, all of you, each single one of you.
Thank you. Okay, so I bear the question now. This is where we need to come together. What do we do? What do we do? Should the youth just be left alone and just go out and do their thing? Who's responsible for engaging youth and ensuring that they have the platforms and the opportunities to do the work necessary? What's the plan, guys? What do we do? We've heard one person alone, and I can see why you see that, because that's a point I brought up. One person alone can't make a difference. We've heard the gentleman in the back motivate us all that we're going to all make a difference. You've had people say that the government is doing a great job. You've had people say that the private sector is not doing enough. So should we just go with the private government sector and leave the private sector and just do the work with them? You've had someone say we should just focus on it ourselves and just all as individuals just go out and make a difference. We've had tons of things. Now I'm challenged here to bring it all together with an action plan for us to go out and do. So I'm not lost because we're going to figure this out. But I'm saying, what do you guys think? I mean, I want to give the panelists, they've been listening to all this information and all these issues and some positivity, some negativity. What do we do?
You're looking at me. I'll make just one comment. I have a lot of different comments and thoughts, but I just wanted to recognize the connection with nature. That's actually the education program that I'm working with, is Connect with Nature, and that's literally the title, and that's exactly what we're trying to do, because I think there is a disconnect, and I think that's where it starts, is that connection. There's a quote, if anyone can find the author, please let me know. The quote is, if they know what we know, they'll care as we care. I've used that many, many times before because I think it holds so true. So I love the Connect to Nature, or Connect with Nature. Key, absolutely essential. just a couple of other thoughts. I'm cautious of the time.
Please, take your time.
I just also wanted to say, as far as I think everybody just needs to find their motivation, whether it's a daughter or a son or something you learn in school or an article that you read or something your friend does, whatever your own motivation is, because the planet needs us, needs everybody at every level, at all ages, in every sector. And I think if everyone's working together, that's the best way to accomplish change. But really, I do firmly believe in that ripple effect. This is a little bit outdated, but making it cool. You guys are the ones that are going to do that. It needs to be cool to carry a recycled bag, and forgive my age, but it needs to be cool to bring your recycled water bottle.
Absolutely.
And you are the ones that are going to do that. And my last thought, I'm looking out at this audience of youth, and I've had the privilege and the opportunity to work and meet with many of you outside of this forum in the work that I do. And we're in good hands. We really are. And I say that, I really do say that honestly and from the heart. I think we just need to keep positive and remember that every drop counts. So.
Thank you. So I have a plan, and I'm going to put it out there before we move on to Noona and Simon to say their points, and then we move back to you. I'm going to put a plan out there. All right? And I'm just going to see. I want you guys to think about it, because when we're talking about climate change and becoming greener, who's responsible for engaging with youth and engaging the community? You guys. We got the Ministry of Climate Change. So I'm going to put a plan here. All right, just put it on the table, see what you guys come up with, see if you guys destroy it. I think we should all be reaching out to those guys, saying, we got a plan for you guys. We want the big awareness and the influencer and all that stuff, so we want to start with the same. Who said the Fizzat challenge? Similar to that? That was you. We want to take Arwa's plan, and we want to do a 30-day whatever. All right? We want it to go crazy. Everyone's doing this fitness challenge. Everyone. We want the same thing. So we're going to reach out to the Ministry of Climate Change, all of us. We're going to tag them on social media. We're going to reach out to them professionally in a nice way and say we want to do a big, massive campaign to get things started, to raise awareness, to get people closer to nature, to get people more positive, to take the acts of each individual and make it count, to get the leaders, the top down and the bottom up going, everyone talking about it. The same. I've never seen fitness talked about so much in my entire life. And we want the same thing to be done. No, I'm not going to sit here and say, okay, so go ahead and do it. No. Let's all come together out here in our respectful departments, DIWA, Expo 2020, Dubai Police. Let's all reach out to our counterparts here, get their business cards, and say, how do we do something similar to that? Because that's taken off. What 30-day plan can we do that really pushes this message and keeps it in us forever? Because I'm telling you, why did they say 30 days? Because we want to make it a habit. It's not about making it 30 days and salam alaikum. I bet you a big percentage of those people that take the challenge will continue that lifestyle. And if we do the same thing in partnership with the Ministry of Climate Change, with endorsements from His Highnesses. So I'll let you guys think about that. And I want you guys to close off your closing points on what you think.
So apart from the negativity and the discussions that happen, I think I'm very happy to see such passionate youth in such a field. I think that at the end, private sectors are owned by individuals. And you can choose the companies that you deal with. You can choose the companies that you buy products from. At the end, it's your choice. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Simon, please.
I don't have a huge amount to add, but I think this combination of the bottom-up approach and the top-down approach is exactly what we need. So I think we need to, every single one of us needs to constantly be making those choices, be having those conversations, but we also need to be demanding a seat at the table and making sure these decisions that are being made by other people at the moment, that we're in the room and we're part of those conversations, we're part of those those decision-making processes. Could I also just take the liberty of asking the audience for one more thing?
Of course, please.
So every day I do my best to live in a more sustainable way. So I bank with a sustainable bank. I make sustainable fashion choices, all those sort of things. And then I ruin it all by flying here a very long way to be here for these 2 days. And in order to sort of offset my environmental conscience about that, I need every single person in this room to help me. And so I would like to ask you, every person in the room, to promise me, you don't have to, but I would very much appreciate it, that you could, after this conversation, you can go out in the next hours, in the next days, in the next week, just speak to 5 people about the conversations that we had in this room.
Yep.
And it doesn't need to be, I think what's really important is we don't try and be belligerent. We don't try and tell people what to do. We just ask them. We just tell them what happened. And I think maybe if everyone in this room talks to 5 people, then maybe my sort of my carbon footprint of flying here might be set off. So please help me with that. Thank you.
I'll keep that. I promise you I'll do that.
Thank you.
I'm taking the promise. Okay, I'm going to come to you a second. Got one point. The plan. What did you think of that plan? You think it's stupid? You think we should do something else? We're going to start with the gentleman over here. He hasn't spoken. Remember, guys, it's because we only have 5 minutes left. It's all about the plan. What we do when we leave here. If someone starts speaking about, sushi or something like that, I'm going to interrupt. Please, go ahead.
I'm Zain Al-Abdin from Ajman University, Team
Welcome.
Aqua Green.
Ajman University.
I think it's mostly into the individual. I mean, it's more of a trend that I will do the fitness for 30 days.
Okay.
Then I'll find, there's something hot happening in the country in another region, not fitness, maybe in food. Then in after a week, then I'll find out video games. And another one in something about reading. I think it's more about how do I not care about the people's opinion of me? How do I do it for myself? How do I plan that I will live sustainable for myself? I don't care if it saves the world or not. I'm doing it so that me, myself, I'm trying my best to live my life, to live my share of the world. Because in the end, if we are this number of people, population over the world, if each one of us live 1.7 as what Ms. Layla...
Yes.
So it's about how do I, one person, make sure that I live for one person, one right.
Nice.
If I want my rights, then I'll keep using what's specific for me, not go and take from other people.
So that's kind of similar to what Majid was saying in terms of it starts with you. So how do you do that? How do you share? Because I agree with you. I'm with your wisdom. Now, how do you, because we've had talks about people sharing that information. You were talking about influencers. You were talking about getting things on social media, pushing it out there. Because not everyone thinks like you. Not everyone thinks like Majid.
I think it's more of the architecture department, where we every day...
More like?
Every architecture department. Every week we get critique for our work, for our designs. So I think that you should accept your negativity. Whatever people point out, okay, for example, Zain, you're doing this not very good. Okay,
yeah.
I'll accept it. I appreciate your help. I'll work on myself. Not to take it as a personal effect like, oh no,
okay.
Sorry, how dare you tell me that I'm not very sustainable.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing that.
That's how we deal with programs.
Thank you. The plan. The plan. What are we doing, guys? We've got... How much? Ooh, we're over 5 minutes. So, the plan. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. The plan. If it's not the plan, because I've kept everyone, and I want to be respectful of people's time, if it's not about the plan, I'll move on to the next person. The plan.
So to add on what you have said to Minister of Climate Change and to collaborate.
Quick question. Do we all agree that the Ministry of Climate Change should be a leader in this thing? No? For sure. Yeah? Okay, good.
Since
so
the Ministry of Youth have been introduced, it was inspiring and aspiring to the youth. And to be frankly honest, I've been following and been updated with all the initiatives they have been driving, and seeing for the last month or the past year, the youth have been driving big and huge initiatives related to humanitarian or different kinds of fields. So why not they start, and also with the collaboration they can start, because
with the Ministry of Youth.
Yeah, because they have reached out to most of the youth channels, so they can reach out to us.
Okay, so we're talking about a collaboration between the Ministry of Climate Change, the Ministry of Youth, to start working on other long-term initiatives.
Yes.
Okay. So who's from the Ministry of Youth here? Who's from the Ministry of Youth? Anyone? Who's from a youth member? There were 2 or 3 of you. Okay, 1. Can you meet with Ministry of Climate Change after this to see how you can take that forward? Good. The plan. The plan. I'm sorry, I need to take the voices of the youth here because they're the ones who are going to be...
Thank you. Regarding the plan, can we have a platform?
You can do whatever you want. It's not my decision.
So my idea is to have a platform utilizing the social media, the influencer, the government entity and people where the individual can approach and submit the idea of how the small practice that we can change or contribute, where the government can put challenges like those challenges on them and let people committed. I am committed and register on those and see how the effect and statistic out of it. Where can university or those education presenting their project and who want to kind of a project, even the government, they can submit their project and who want to participate in those projects. So we have like a platform for the whole nation where the people, it can be either in UAE or outside, where we can commit to climate change by different kind of a practice. Where can people reach the government and where education can reach like expertise on this platform, and where we can see influencers are integrated in such kind of movement. So we have like a whole society is moving towards such kind of thing.
It's very easy. On your point, I'm just telling you, they reached out to me yesterday, the Ministry of Climate Change, and said, come to this event at Mirdif and, just be there. I'm like, yeah, of course. It's our environment. But it's just a matter of an entity taking responsibility and a matter of raising that awareness. So I'm with you. I think there needs to be that platform.
But we need something that gather all of this.
Absolutely.
So I think with the social media and the internet words now, the internet platform that can gather all these forces in one, table. Put us, even if you are far away, but you can reach people and you can communicate and deliver your idea. Even a small idea can change.
Okay, we haven't heard from the lady in the back. She will be giving the final point on the plan. I apologize, but I want to respect last final point because you waved your hand. So 2 points because, I'm not trying to be rude. I just want to be respectful of everyone's time. I want them to get home to their families and for dinner, and I'm pretty hungry.
Okay,
please.
So my name is Najud. I study at NYU. And for the plan...
What's your name again?
Najud.
Najud from NYU, sorry.
Yeah, and so the first thing would be to acknowledge the problem because most of the youth do not acknowledge it. First thing would be, they should know, especially in the UAE, that if you mess with the environment, nature will find its way back to mess with you, and that's the first thing.
How? This is the plan here.
Okay, and then, so I think carrying refilled water bottles or carrying plastic bags is something to be it's a default for all the youth.
Okay.
And I think that the youth need to look for more ambitious goals. For example, the UAE currently is pushing renewables, but it's still intermittent, and so they need batteries for that. Why can't the youth, for example, be involved in R&D where they could actually develop the battery themselves? And they could hit the world record of being the country where they can use batteries. They need to look at more ambitious goals than just the default things
so
that they need to do.
So what's the platform? What's that? I'm challenging you. So is this something that you need to speak to the R&D center here at DWA?
Yeah.
All right. She'll be coming up to speak to you right after this. Is that everything, Najud? You good? Thanks. Final point here. Shayma al-Hamadi, صح? Shayma al-Hamadi from DWA. Yep. Shayma al-Hamadi from DWA, closing off the point on the plan.
Yes.
Because now we have you're going to be speaking to Noura about R&D, and what else? What else do we have? Ministry of Youth and the Ministry of Climate Change. We have the challenge that we're going to see if we can get that up and running, and we have a final point on the plan.
Yes. So first of all, I would like to say that I'm a proud DWA employee because although we are a utility in the power sector, we are doing too many stuff and too many initiatives in the sustainability part because DWA is all about the sustainability and the youth, and this is clearly reflected in our motto, which is for generations to come. So to add on the plan, I would like to suggest instead of challenging individuals, why not we challenge private and governmental utilities to provide, for example, at least 3 initiatives for developing sustainabilities in their individual sectors. And then at the end of this challenge, maybe we can choose the best challenge, and we can.
So DWA will initiate this challenge.
Maybe who will take the lead, climate change. They can take the lead on that.
You're going to go back to your office with a lot of work.
Utilities.
This is not something we can point. I'm sorry.
Challenging universities, though.
Yeah, it can
Sorry?
be like
DIWA is challenging universities through zakat and
Yeah.
exactly. For example, DWA challenge the universities, and the climate change as it's the main ministry يعني related to this. They can challenge all the utilities that can affect and that can develop the sustainable lifestyle in the individual's life.
Thank you. And that's a beautiful point. Okay, last point. Just because you're Diwa.
I just want to add to the challenge that you suggested. And I want to just point out that it does have merit, actually. Because what the fitness challenge did is just create a platform for entities and for already existing initiatives, existing fitness initiatives, whereby employees, government entities, individuals, private companies can engage with. So in DIWA, as my colleague Shayma just mentioned, we have many initiatives. We have already a platform to encourage sustainable behavior and going green. We're working closely with Ministry of Climate Change and Environment, and now and as we can see that for these initiatives to happen, it has to be a collaboration. So I would recommend having that 30-day challenge. It won't be something new. It would be just a platform to showcase already existing initiatives that people can adopt, companies can adopt. Because even in terms of getting other government entities to be sustainable, at least in Dubai level, we already have that. We have the Government Excellence Program, whereby sustainability is a criteria. So all government entities are adopting sustainability. We have Dubai Police that are adopting sustainability. Even as a security company, they're issuing a sustainability report. So government entities have taken that initiative. It's just a matter of creating a platform for them, a platform where everyone can see these initiatives and get engaged in them.
Thank you. And that's a beautiful note to close on. So the thing is with all these action items that we talked about, Ya Jama'ah, like, don't wait. As you said, Samar, sah? At the beginning, she raised an idea. It was one of the first things we asked. She raised an idea and it got approved. It got the green light. And Alison said that this is one country that has the advantage is if they bring an idea, it's more likely to get approved. And I asked you guys to raise your hands and you said this was a country. So here's the question, what are you waiting for? Is if you want to do this 30-day challenge on the climate and greener economy, I don't know what that challenge is. Maybe everyone has to, do something, take their garbage to the recycling for 30 days. The thing is, it's not 30 days. It's creating that habit. All right? But the thing that I want to leave you all with is don't wait for someone else to do it. Sahhan, we said the Ministry of Climate Change are responsible, that they're the ones who would like, but that doesn't mean we should just say, okay, let's wait for them to do the 30-day challenge thing. They heard it at the ministry, they heard it at this dialogue, they should do it, right? And then you meet them at this place next year. Why didn't you do it? Because you didn't email us. Just go and do it. Just sit with a few of you in a room and say, what do we do? Present it. Then if they say no, go do it yourselves. And then watch how guilty they feel at the end because they didn't support you. Because it will get done. And it will get acknowledged. But I challenge you to just, all these action items that we talked about, just do them. Don't wait for someone to do it for you. Put the plan in place, reach out to the right people, tell them if you don't get on board now, you're going to regret it. Because we're going forward. And it's going to make a huge change. And we're going to develop a nation that's sustainable and greener tomorrow that you won't have been a part of, that we'll all have created, inshaAllah. Thank you all so much for being engaging. Thank you to the panelists for all their wisdom. I wish you all a pleasant evening. As-salamu. Please.